Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the W Ritz Podcast. We know it's been a while, and this is kind of going to be sort of a throwback episode almost. I don't know how long it's been, maybe like a year or something, but, you know, things happen. You run out of ideas, and sometimes you just get tired of, podcasting over and over again. And Will and I kind of just wanted to, hang out when we saw each other. It's not that we don't love podcasting, and we definitely love, hearing what people have to say about our podcast because, we know a lot of the listeners, so it's really great to get some feedback from you guys. But you need a break from everything once in a while except for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So
Amen.
we took a little break. But anyway, we have in studio with me today Daniel Dimes.
Yep.
You probably already heard we have Will on the phone because he's actually not in the Buffalo area right now. He's in Unionville, New York, and we're going to be getting into what he's been doing on today's episode of the W Ritz Podcast. But Will, Danny, it's great to have you back on the podcast here. It's great to be doing this again.
We're so back.
Great to be back, bro. I finally get to understand what our call-in guests get to feel like.
Yeah, you feel a little ostracized, right?
Yeah, I feel like a third wheel that's like not even attached to the tricycle anymore.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think you can still carry the podcast, but we're so back. It's been a while since I've been on this podcast. I think I'm currently, other than maybe Bert. I don't know. I'm either rivaling him or
now we have Danny's brag session.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
A minute and 30 seconds in, Danny's
No,
bragging.
I'm just saying. I think I'm the most recurring guest on the podcast.
You're very charismatic. Everybody wants to listen to you.
No, I think that would be true. I think this is our fourth time having him on, if I'm not mistaken.
He fills up space well whenever.
Because that was more of a rapid succession.
Yeah, it's third or fourth. I'm leaning towards third time on, but if it's fourth,
so.
I'm definitely the most on.
It's just you fill up space well. Whenever we don't know what to say, you say something.
All right, I see.
And it works out well.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good for a podcast. It's good for a podcast.
No, yeah, it makes sense.
Danny's drinking his liquid death.
That's actually really good. I was not expecting this to be good. You know my opinion on sparkling water, but
I know you don't like it, but
Liquid Death is. I mean, ever since you got me that mango one,
Liquid Death is mildly sweet, so you like it.
Yeah,
it's because Liquid Death actually has like a little bit of sugar in it, whereas most seltzer waters don't have any sugar.
It has some all natural thing in it.
It's less radio static than like LaCroix. That's just
LaCroix.
Can't even drink
that's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a LaCroix.
Yeah. Will,
I miss LaCroix.
Will, what are you sipping on over there, Will?
What's that?
What are you sipping on?
Just water.
Oh,
just straight tap water, bro.
That's classic.
All right,
that's all I need.
Based. Get that lead in your system.
It's filtered. It's filtered. Don't worry.
All right,
I'm not.
Okay, we're good then.
It better.
I have a standard of health, guys. Come on, give me a break.
Straight from the river.
But anyway, Will, explain to us why you're not here with us today. You have some explaining to do.
It's because I got sick of you guys and I wanted to leave.
No.
I'm just kidding, guys. I would never say that. That's so out of character for me, guys. Come on. Can't believe all of you viewers fell for that. That was crazy. You guys should be embarrassed. Okay. More serious note. So basically what I've been doing for the past 8 weeks now is I've been staying with a pastor and his family along the Appalachian Trail, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically this 2,500 mile trail spanning from Georgia all the way through Maine, that people from all over the U.S. and all over the world will come to and hike for a couple months, usually like 4 to 6 months, depending on your speed. And they just devote parts of their lives or like parts of their years just to hike this trail. As the reasons can span from anywhere from just, they love hiking and they want to take a long hiking vacation to they don't really have anywhere else to go and they just need something to do or get away from their crazy or depressing lives. It's quite the interesting culture over here because you meet all sorts of different people from different walks of life who are just all hiking the same trail with the same goal of finishing the 2,500 miles. And basically what my duties are specifically is we're running something called a hostel out of the pastor's house's basement, which is basically just a place for travelers to come through and stay in, and stay in for a night or two and then move on.
Ironically,
it used to be a lot more common, in olden times where like wandering nomads were more of a thing, but not so common nowadays with cars and Airbnbs and such. But they're still around for cultures such as long U.S. trails, and running this hostel is mostly just cleaning, washing, doing laundry, making beds, preparing coffee and pancakes and stuff, and making sure that the hikers feel comfortable and welcome. And it's completely donation based, so they don't have to pay anything to stay here. There's some hostels on the trail that are like $15 or $20 a night. So a lot of hikers are very thankful for this, and if they want to donate, they can, but no pressure, obviously. So yeah, we're just here to be a servant to the hikers along the trail, and yeah, it's been very rewarding in the 8 weeks I've been here. I've gotten to talk to a lot of interesting people, and some people have been really impacted by our work here. Others have just sort of appreciated the simple service we serve, and just move on, which, sometimes that's all you can really do as a Christian, is be a servant to others. And sometimes you don't even get the chance to talk to them about God, but, hopefully through your actions that shows them a little bit of God's love and the love of Jesus Christ, and maybe that affects them down the line. Yeah. So any questions, anything to say about that?
I find that it's ironic that the hostel is ironically unhostile.
Yeah.
So
I should look into the etymology of the word hostel, because I've heard people make that joke before, but I think they have two different meanings and probably word origins. But yeah.
Now this thing, this hostel is basically just general information. It's basically funded by Will and I's church's denomination.
Yes.
by the missionary wing. So they actually sponsored Will to go out for 10 weeks, right? And
10 weeks.
Yeah, do 10 weeks out there just helping the pastor. I mean, it's from what you've told me, Will, it sounds like he has his hands very full with his family and everything else, and you've been able to kind of come along and help him out there.
Yeah, the pastor, so he's the pastor of a church. It's a fairly small church, but he's the sole pastor. He has 2 elders, so he doesn't exactly have so much help there. So he's got a lot to worry about, the various sermons and Bible studies to run. And then he also runs this hostel, and then he does carpentry in addition to all that. And in addition to helping, take care of his family. So
okay, gotcha.
They need a lot of help over summer, so that's why they have an intern every year. I'm the 3rd one they've had so far. Yeah.
Gotcha. So are there any more volunteers? I may have misheard, but are there any more volunteers like working alongside you? Like
no, I'm the only one.
Okay, gotcha.
They don't really have a need for more than one. It would get pretty crowded if there were more people helping out, but
yeah, it makes sense.
One extra set of adult hands is all they really need. I think once their kids get a little older and start helping out a little more, they probably won't need an intern much anymore, because a lot of my work is just sort of it can be done by a hardworking teenager, but yeah, a lot of the more rewarding, involved work has to do with the hikers and talking with them, and some very interesting conversations and people.
Yeah, well, you told me
from here.
You told me earlier this week, and I'm interested in hearing more about it. But you said there was this guy who's like an actual pagan who came by, and you discussed things with him for a while. And I told you you should tell me the next time we call. Well, now we're on the next time we call. So
yeah,
why don't you tell us about this pagan guy?
Okay, it was a girl, first of all. That was,
oops.
I mean, that's not really much of a distinction, but so yeah, that was definitely the most interesting guest. It was like the first time I actually had to like debate somebody on the Bible, because like all like the hikers who came through here up to this point were like, not all of them were Christian, obviously, but none of them were like adverse to the Bible, or like they didn't like find it to be untrue.
You shouldn't
They're
really
all pretty just sort of chill about it.
You shouldn't really be adverse to the religion of the guy who's like letting you stay in his house overnight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this girl was the first one who was like actively like, yeah, I think the Bible is harmful and misleading.
Ooh,
and
I don't know what that is.
well, you guys know me, I'm very passionate about my faith and my beliefs, so I engaged with her, and it was a very respectful discussion over I think like 2 hours almost, about the whole thing. And basically, I'm trying to, I don't know how much detail I want to go into here, but
What was the conversation
basically,
like?
the conversation was mostly about. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, what was the main purpose of the conversation? Like, was
main
she specifically?
Purpose was, it all spawned when I said, "Oh, I'm interested in ministry work and maybe the potential of eventually becoming a pastor." And she was like, "Oh, well, I don't really, I read the Bible once, a while ago, and I find it to be very condescending." And I go, "Oh, how so?" And then we go into a whole discussion about men and women's role in a God-fearing relationship, because she found the Bible to be pretty condescending towards women. She especially had a problem with the verse about women being the weaker vessel.
If I had to
she
choose,
thought that was kind of condescending.
If I had to choose like one verse that makes people dislike the Bible the most in like 2025, that would probably be it. Like the Bible's whole view of women. Like that's obviously I agree with it, but like that is the one that the most amount of people seem to really dislike.
Well, at the same time, if you actually look at how women were treated during the time of the Bible, and you look at the actual accountability of like the Jesus' resurrection, they cite women, and they say the first people to report that Jesus was alive and not in the tomb were women. Which, if you wanted a coherent story that people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's true," you would not include women. And the Bible actually like amplifies women way more than like definitely other religions like Muslims,
for sure.
and just looking at the time. But obviously, we understand in terms of like women's role in the house and marriage.
Well, not even just looking at the time, looking at today. You see, you could take the most Amish woman out there. The stereotypical like your husband doesn't let you do anything. You're kind of stuck at home washing clothes all day. That woman is still, I guarantee you, treated better than 99% of women living in like Saudi Arabia or something, or maybe Saudi Arabia. I don't remember if they're getting more modern with that or not, but you take the average Muslim country, they're not going to treat their women as well as an Amish family would, or an Amish community.
No, because I mean, even Amish they're monogamous. The only having one.
Yeah. Unlike like Mormons or whatever.
Yeah, and unlike like Muslims, where you have like it's okay to have 3 wives or more. It's even better to have that because more people help around the house. But we understand it's just one-on-one.
Yeah.
But anyways, so she had a big problem with how.
That was her main problem with it all. She actually had a couple more problems, which we discussed. But I explained, it's not trying to put down women. It's just trying to explain how we have different roles, and like God built men to be the protectors of women, and women are they're naturally more fragile and need to be more protected more.
That's interesting because
protecting.
The woman issue to me is like the most culturally important one. Like obviously the most personally and societally maybe important issue is how many do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? That's the most important issue for your personal life and for your community. But in general, I think that the issue of how do you view women actually affects society more, because right from the get-go, you have you come out of your mother's womb. Well, your mom is a woman. I'm sorry, your mom is not a man.
Yeah, of course.
So either you view women as like they're supposed to be independent and not really have kids, and prioritize that grind set, where they go out and work for the widget factory. Either you can view them as just the same as a man, or you can view them as different, and how a society sees that is going to change things like whether it has abortion, what kind of contraception it has. Even things like childcare. Like I don't have an inherent problem with people sending their kids off to daycare or whatever. I get it. Life's hard. Sometimes regrettably, you don't have time to stay home with your kids. But you can kind of measure a society's health by how it treats its women and children, because that's going to affect a lot of different things. And like daycares shouldn't be raising children, you know, like that's one of the things where if you don't like women and you get more daycares, well, that's just some, you know, underpaid worker taking care of your kid all day. That's not going to care for your kid like a woman would, like a mother would, you know?
Yeah, it's not in the kids, I mean, let alone being in the mom's best interest being what's that long-term relationship going to look like when you just throw your kid into this place it's not a personal relationship.
Exactly,
what's good for the kid. We're building that relationship.
And that's like, yeah, and that's something like we had conversations with various hikers about different ones, but was that like homeschooling is like kind of just like the best way to raise your kid, because in public schools, like teachers are teaching classes of like 20 to 30 kids, sometimes more. So it's really hard to be involved in, you know, individual students like learning abilities and their, you know, intellectual growth. Whereas, you know, if you're a homeschool mom or homeschool parents, like you're focusing on each individual one of your kids and helping them out individually.
Right.
And I think there's statistics I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are statistics to show that that's actually more beneficial for children. Homeschooled kids usually are better off in the long run.
As far as like importance of learning subjects go, I don't think kids need to go to school as early as they do. Like until you're maybe 10 years old, really, all you need to be doing is staying at home with your mom and playing all day, and that's going to be really good for you. And then once you get older...
I mean, still learning, but...
Yeah, of course you're still going to learn.
Learning to read, write, do basic math. Well,
yeah.
It says on average, the average high schooler spends 30 to 60 minutes a day, even like a little bit higher, maybe like 30 minutes, like an hour and a half on weekends, like with their mom or with their parents. Like, I mean, me personally, growing up, let alone spending like 8 hours a day with my mom, just like constantly spending time with my parents, working with my dad. But like, could you imagine if you only, I know we're all kind of the same with how much time we spend with our parents. Like, could you imagine like only seeing your mom like for like half an hour every day?
That's crazy to me.
That would be, yeah.
It's like no wonder like so many like people nowadays like just don't get along with their parents. It's like obviously like never got the chance to get to know them or develop a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'd imagine that 30 to 60 minutes, at least 10% of that is just the kid asking the parent if they can do something and either getting shot down or getting confirmed on what to do. But no, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like the less time you spend with someone, the less you're going to want to spend time with that someone. Like if you don't see your friend for a year, you're not going to want to see your friend as much as you did when you saw them last.
Yeah, it's basically an inconvenience.
Kind of.
Absence can make the heart grow fonder, but not. I don't think that's generally how it actually works.
Yeah, because if you didn't, it's one thing like Will's gone now. You got that really good relationship with you.
Right, I miss Will and we call a lot, so I still want to see him.
But if that wasn't, if we originally didn't spend the time to get to know you, I wouldn't necessarily care if you were gone because I didn't really spend that much time with you in the first place.
Right, yeah, because with each of you, I spent easily like probably hundreds of hours with each of you.
Yeah.
It's been a long run, so yeah, we have bonds that won't be broken by any distance or time, but if you don't take the time to develop those bonds in the first place, it's hard to miss somebody once they're gone. So
right, and that's why it's a bad thing when moms right from the get-go kick their child off to childcare. It's like, what?
Exactly,
I'm going to be off of work for a month, and then you're going over to, Little Tots Play Place for the next 3 years of your life until you can go to school, which is essentially the same thing for all intents and purposes.
And in a lot of ways, I don't think it's entirely, in a lot of situations, it's not always the mom's fault because it's the unfortunate reality of today where like
no, true, yeah,
it's really hard to live off of like a single income household.
Yeah,
like the man has to be making a lot of money,
right?
And in many cases, both parents need to be working in order to get by, and it's really sad to see, but that's kind of the unfortunate reality of America today.
No,
So,
yeah, I don't have contempt for parents who are just doing it because they have to. I'm just saying it is a regrettable thing.
Yeah, it's the societal pressure to
it's
do it as well.
it's sad, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, not that it's not wrong or not like harmful, but I mean, you kind of have to look at just the way that the world is. You kind of quote unquote can't blame them because they don't really know any different. Like as Christians, we know that God tells us to prioritize the training and teaching time with your kids and to raise them up to know God, and spend time with them. But if you're just in the public, there's no incentive other than, I guess, just like baseline having a good relationship with them. There's no extra.
Here's the thing, though. You can kind of blame some parents. I'm not talking about the ones that are struggling to make ends meet. I'm talking about the ones that go into debt on an $80,000 car and then both have to work jobs at the expense of the kid who's sitting at home wondering where mommy is.
Yeah, living above their means.
Yeah, we live above our means all the time, and then that's part of why both parents have to work so much. And ultimately, you chose to have a kid. You chose to do the thing that makes you have a kid. Whether you wanted that kid in the first place or not, you should have been smarter. Well, now you have a kid, you're stuck with it. So you should put it first above that, nice new car or nice new house or nice new whatever, and just live a little poorer so you can afford to spend more time with your kid. And ultimately, when you're old, you're not going to regret that, believe it or not.
Amen.
So anyway, what else has been going on for you in this trip? Well, what else? You told me a lot of stuff. So
I didn't even get to like the pagan part of the person I was talking to. Like we just scratched the surface there.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's hear more about it.
Well, continuing our conversation past the women's role thing. Like I explained, all the basic points of what Christians believe, and she just flat out just disagreed. She thought it was kind of, in her words, she thought it was awful. So it's just people aren't gonna. You can't force people to see your perspective, but
well, how does she justify that? Like, what does she believe instead? Because everybody believes something.
Well, okay, I'm getting to that. So basically, eventually down the line, she asks me, "Oh, what do you imagine God looks like, or something like that?" And then I say, "Well, I don't really feel comfortable trying to attribute a look to God, because I'm sure the Bible never really goes into detail on what he looks like, if at all. And all I know is like his form is so holy and pure that like we just in our mortal fallen forms just can't comprehend it." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I always imagine him as the sun." And I'm like, oh okay, why? Because she goes like, well, the Bible says that, anytime somebody tries to look upon God, like they're blinded and they have to look away. And that's how the sun works. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but doesn't mean he's literally the sun. It's just like, I've always associated the sun with like a masculine energy of God. And then I go, oh, okay. And then she goes, and to oppose that, I view the sea as the feminine energy of God. And I'm a little skeptical here. And I even say to her outright, that seems awfully pagan. And then she agrees with me, like, yeah, it is pagan. And she just admits it outright. And I'm like, oh, at least she's honest. Yeah. And her whole point was like, she goes into this whole like sort of detailed view of her personal beliefs about how she believes Jesus was a real person, but not really the Son of God, but someone who was sent there, or just a man who was like using Christianity to make the world a better place. Because she says that a lot of Jesus's teaching matched Eastern philosophy, which is in part true, but like obviously that's just the basis of biblical truth is Jesus's teaching. And Eastern philosophy got some things right, sure, but they weren't Eastern in origin.
No,
because Jesus was he was an Eastern, he wasn't Asian or anything.
No, I mean, the origin is from God. It's speaking right.
Exactly, yeah. And like other philosophies might get some truths right through just like basic like logic and
basic
moral compass,
ethical.
but like without the Bible, like they're not based on any form of truth. And basically, she said like he used like the masculine sun energy to bring like some balance to the ancient world and use Christianity as like a tool to bring order because there was a lot of tyranny going on. And she says now there's an imbalance of energies and there's too much masculine sun energy in the world. And we need more feminine sea energy in order to rebalance it. Okay. And, you know, I'm just mulling this all over as she's saying it. And I'm like, and I say, I don't agree. I think Christianity, you know, when Christ came, he brought peace to the world, and he brought, you know, he took the sins upon his cross, and he fought for those who were he was helping those who were, you know, looked down upon and kicked and being pushed down because the Pharisees were abusing their religious power, and misquoting the Bible and being hypocritical. And he was just bringing order to that and dying for our sins, fulfilling the Old Testament prophecy. And I think the problem in today's world is just a lack of Jesus, like following of Jesus's teachings. Like you look at everything that's going wrong in the world, and none of it is aligned with anything Jesus said. So it's like, I don't think there's an imbalance of energy. It's just a lack of, you know, basis in Jesus' teaching and the moral truth of the Bible. And she goes, okay, I understand that. I just don't really agree. And then later down the line in our conversation, it was kind of funny because like we kind of used the same line of reasoning to come to different conclusions. Because one of the things she said was, you know, it's hard for me to accept Christianity because there's so many religions out there, so many different stories. It's like they can't, means like none of them are really true, or you know, means none of them can be true. And I said, I actually think it's kind of the opposite. I think because there are so many stories and so many religions that they all have to, you know, tie back to one true one, because there's so many religions that, you know, quote Jesus or reference Jesus as either a prophet or just a really wise man. So Jesus was obviously a very important person to a lot of these religions. So one of them has to be a true account. And I believe that to be the Bible. Mm-hmm. And she goes, okay, I understand. And she, like, we never really, you know, argued like heatedly. Like we were very respectful with each other, which I do appreciate. Yeah, she wasn't, you know, she never yelled or insulted me or anything. I mean, she was very blunt when she didn't like something, like with the whole concept of hell. She really didn't like that, which that's also a big problem. In addition to the verses about women that Isaac mentioned, is a lot of people just really can't wrap their heads around the concept of heaven and hell, about people being punished for all eternity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think when you talk about a bunch of having so many religions, I think not only that a lot of religions use Jesus or tie back to Jesus or talk about him. I mean, you just look at religion in general. From what I've seen, obviously I haven't visited every single one or researched every single one, but from what I've seen, if you go to any like untouched, like uncontacted, but obviously contacted tribe or indigenous people, there is some sort of God that they worship. And because God says in the Bible very clearly, very plainly, that he uses creation, no one is without excuse. He uses creation to reveal himself. Because it stands to reason, this didn't come from nothing. So even like the people who nobody's telling them, hey, you know, maybe somebody created all this. It's very obvious to them that, well, we got here somehow. So there's some type of God figure. Obviously, it's not Jesus most of the time, probably none of the time, because they've never probably heard of him. But it is, they understand that God reveals himself through creation. So, and I think that gives it a lot of weight. to point back that like religion wasn't just something made up by someone to either get ahead or to to control people. People have them because they understand that we didn't come here, or we weren't created by nothing, and we didn't just happen by accident, because there's something that created us, that we have a purpose to serve for whatever that thing is. Obviously, we understand that to be God and Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, or like even like the accounts of the flood, like they're pretty much the same in all of the. There are a lot of religious texts that aren't biblical that date back to that time, and a lot of them talk about there being a big flood or something like that. Or like even if you think about like the martyrs in Rome just after Jesus went back to heaven. Like, what other religion has just spread so rapidly in the face of such persecution? Like, that's got to count for something,
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like Christianity is the only religion with martyrs, but I mean, just think about like the original 12 disciples. They personally knew Christ, so they knew what was going on. It's not like they like didn't like know. It wasn't like they were like a third generation of people who just heard this story. And for them to all die in brutal fashion, I mean, some of them died just of like natural causes, but a lot of them chose to go to die for seemingly, from the world's perspective, nothing. Or I guess if you want to, let's good prank. Let's fool everybody into being good people. Like, cool prank, bro. Like,
Exactly.
it doesn't gives them a lot of
right.
weight to go and die for something that quote unquote isn't true. It gives you so much weight.
And another thing is like, what other? I'm trying to think of any other religion that has two clearly defined, I guess you could say, parts to it. That's not exactly the right word, but you have the Jews in before Jesus died, and then you have Christianity, and I'm trying to think of any other religion where the Savior actually did come and actually changed up the people group that is truly worshiping him. Like Jesus changed it from the Jews no longer are actually correct about their beliefs, but the Christians now are. I'm trying to think of any other religion.
I mean,
where that actually happens.
Muslims are strictly like Middle Eastern people. Jews are strictly Jews. I mean, you have now like universalists, but that's just lukewarm garbage, and like Mormons, but that's just piggybacking off of what Christ did. I don't know if Will knows, but I can't really think. I think it's usually pretty central to whatever people group that it's specific. It's not for everybody. Will, can you think of any that would be like that?
Like, I'm trying to understand the point there. Like
not just like for like the Jews. Like if you're Jewish, you believe in the Torah, if I'm not wrong. Like you believe that Jesus wasn't God and that the coming is still happening. He still needs to come to earth. That's only they believe you need to be Jewish to receive that reward. And Muslims believe you have to be Middle Eastern to receive that like reward. So our point is,
I actually don't. I was actually reading a book on Islam while I was here, and I don't think Muslims necessarily believe that. Actually, I think they do believe everybody has potential to be saved.
Right.
And come to Allah.
My point was more, I don't see any religion where there was one definitive savior that changed one people group from being right to being actually wrong.
There's no other religion where God himself comes down to humble himself for his people. Yeah. Because in Islam, like, they believe Jesus was just a prophet of Allah. They don't believe he was the son of God, and Muhammad was just another prophet. So they believe you have to work to get into Allah's favor. Like, you have to put in a lot of effort. And Christianity is the only one where God came down to us to help save us, because we can't, in our own power, make it up to him. Like, that's So there's no other religion like that.
Right.
Which I mean makes sense from a if it's a false religion, you would have to. It's such a big burden of proof if you're like, hey, our guy, he came down here, he was on Earth. Okay, well, now that since we're all human, and since he has to live, that person seemingly has to live a sinless life. If they're like the Son of God, they're probably not going to be sinning. Whereas like the proof that they weren't like sinning, like it's hard to like, it's one thing to like tell somebody about, like, even if it's just on a human level, like, oh, I got this friend and he can do triple backflips and he can play the guitar really well. It's one thing to just tell you about that, but to actually invite that guy over and to do that stuff in front of you, like to actually see him in person, that's a whole that's a whole different level of like proof that you have to go through to prove that to people. Which obviously every other religion can't do because they didn't want to do that, because then you'd have to, like, look at Joseph Smith. Like, where are the golden tablets, buddy? Like, get it? Like, you're gonna do everything from behind a veil? Just gonna be like, yeah, well, I'm the only one who can hear him. I'm the only one who can translate him. You know, like, there's no actual proof is in the pudding. General like physical evidence for the things that you're claiming.
And that's also another thing is, I could be wrong in this, but from what I understand is like Christianity is the only religion. Judaism obviously is part this too, but that's because they believe in the Old Testament only. But it's the only religion where we have multiple people who wrote our texts. Like, there's a combination of many like God-inspired individuals who wrote our religious text. So it's not just one person. Like, the Quran was just Muhammad, and then the Book of Mormon was just Joseph Smith.
We don't put like all our faith
they will claim the Book of Mormon was written by Jesus himself, but that's obviously not true.
Right. Whereas Christianity has 4 different gospels that all say the same thing.
Exactly. And not even just that, but
there's all written by different people.
Tons of overlapping, continuous. That's the correct terminology. Non-contradictory, like, verses and Bibles and writings across thousands, if not thousands, hundreds of years. I think it's thousands.
Yes.
Would it not be thousands because of like Genesis and like Exodus?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Actually, I have a book that has dates on when they were approximately written. Let me check. So I think this book I have approximates Genesis to be written around 1400 BC. So yeah, it would be thousands.
Yeah, written over a span.
It goes all the way to.
Written over a span of 1,500 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just crazy because it's not like. You would think with all these different writers, you'd think there'd be some continuity issues there, some contradictions.
But no, they all work together to prove each other, and they all cross-reference each other.
Yeah, prophecies that actually came true when written hundreds of years before. Yeah, but how'd the conversation kind of end?
It ended with me and her, or me sharing my personal testimony with her, because I felt like that was like
good job, brother.
That's a good move.
Being more personal was what was needed, because like intellectual arguments weren't going anywhere. We both just weren't gonna like see eye to eye. Like, we understood each other's perspective, but we just weren't gonna agree with each other. So I just shared my testimony, and she seemed to take that to heart a little bit. She did take a Bible before she left, because we give out free Bibles.
Sweet.
We have a little box for them near the door, and I don't know if like that means anything, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
I don't know if I handled it the best, because I don't know if I structured my arguments the best or like referenced the right things at times, but I hope the Holy Spirit does some work in her, because she's a pretty intelligent young lady, and I'd like to see her among the pearly gates, but it's not in my hands anymore.
All right. Well, what else has been going on over in Unionville? I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of manual labor and babysitting kids and all that stuff.
Yeah. So when I'm not helping out with the hikers, which, there's quite a few times where like there's no work to be done with the hikers. I'm just helping out Pastor Doma with his work. So we built a chicken coop. We've done a garden expansion. We've poured cement, done a lot of work in the backyard and stuff. So there's not really too much to talk about there. I mean, it's just manual labor. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
I love manual
labor.
Lots
of physical work.
I come home sweating and I'm like, yeah, that felt good.
Oh yeah, bro. The naps here go crazy.
Oh man, I love napping after work. It's top 10 experiences. But
yeah,
I hear that Unionville pizza is not as good as Buffalo pizza.
Oh, of course not. It's decent for what it is, but it's not going to compare to Matina's or anything.
No, it is not.
Nothing compares to Matina's. We love you, Matina's.
Best
We're not even
pizza
sponsored.
Place of all time. And to everybody who enjoys it, you're welcome.
Will, tell us about your New York City trip, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, previous guest of the podcast, Ben Lubner, came over, drove over to Unionville, picked me up, and we went to a little day trip to New York City. He brought his friends Noah and Josh Minkler, but neither of them were on the podcast, so some of you viewers might not know them, but they're still great people. Shout out Noah Freeberg and Josh Minkler, and shout out Ben Lubner.
Of course.
I love you guys. Yeah, they came over and we got in my car and we drove over to New York City. We found free parking in the Bronx, but the subway station, of course, was just closed for maintenance. So we got delayed by an hour getting into the actual city.
Ooh.
So we had to rent scooters and then scoot over to a bus station and take a bus to another bus to take us to the nearest subway station. Gotcha. That was a fun little side quest there. Then when we got into the city itself, we went to Central Park, and we mostly stayed in that area, the areas around Central Park. So we found this pizza place called La Bianca's. Ooh. And I will say, fantastic pizza.
Okay, all right.
Unreal.
Okay.
Unreal. Not better than Matina's, but still really good.
Yeah, no, never better than Matina's.
Well, I think not that I would ever diss my goats, Matina's, but everything when it comes to pizza, it's all personal preference. Because me personally, I like some thick pizza. So I'm not gonna necessarily.
Here's the thing: I could see somebody saying that pizza is better than Matina's. In fact, I think Noah said it. He thought it was better than Matina's.
Because I think Nick thinks that too. Because they like thin pizza. Pizza. So you're not gonna like
New York. A New York slice is a lot less messy than a Matina's slice.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So if you like clean hands while eating pizza, New York pizza is the way to go.
And who likes that?
Not me.
But if you want, and again, it's my preference too. But Matina's, I like the thick, sauciness of it, and I like dipping it in good old blue cheese.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, how was New York City blue cheese?
Oh, we didn't actually try any blue cheese.
Oh.
I don't know if they had it, but they gave us some free sauces because the place we went to, they had some homemade sauces, and they gave us it for free because they were like, "Oh, are you guys tourists?" And we're like, "Yeah." "Oh, here's have some free sauces." "Oh, thank you, dude." And yeah, they gave us a free homemade ranch and a honey garlic sauce. And the honey garlic sauce, dude, unreal. Okay. Actually so good.
Will likes anything with honey.
Ask Ben and ask Josh Minkler. They'll both tell you it was amazing.
Okay.
Gotcha. I'd still take blue cheese any day of the week, but I could see somebody if you told me you like the honey garlic sauce more, I would not blame you. It was really good.
Yeah, for sure.
I would go back to that specific pizza place just for the honey garlic sauce. It was unreal.
Gotcha.
Now, did you fail your 1 tank of gas challenge yet? I keep waiting.
Oh, I failed that a long time ago.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
Yeah, what is that?
After the first week of being here, I called Isaac and I said, because like I'm always at the house or at the church, which is like within walking distance of the house. So like I never used my car while I was here. So I was like, you know what, Isaac, I'm gonna set a challenge for myself. I don't want to have to fill up my car the entire time I'm here. But
sounds a little
I failed that pretty quickly because I saw that Scranton was an hour away, and I love The Office, one of my favorite TV shows, so I have to go to Scranton, Pennsylvania. So that was an hour drive that way, and then we took my car to go to New York City, which is like an hour and a half away.
Your friends wanted you to fail that challenge.
Yeah, you got cooked immediately off the bat.
Hey, they drove the 5 hours to come here. I thought the least I could do was take them the leg into New York City.
That's true. That's true.
That's pretty. All right.
Will's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
I like Will.
He's a nice guy.
Thanks.
Yeah. So when are you coming back?
When we're coming back, I will be back the 18th or the 19th.
All right, everybody who's listening, wait at Will's house when he gets back on the 19th or the 18th.
Surprise party.
Surprise party.
No, I'll come.
July
I'll be at
18th.
Nick Freeberg's graduation party. Also, shout out Nick Freeberg.
What a guy. He's a guy.
We're just shouting at everybody.
Yeah,
happy graduation. Congratulations. Love you, bro.
Yeah, I'll be at that.
Yeah, I'll be there at the graduation party. So
I'll be there.
If you're coming to Nick Freeberg's graduation party, I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there at 9:00. I'm Isaac. Just so you know, you're invited to that grad party.
I know.
I don't know if you didn't know.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm gonna be there late though, since I have a better party to go to before that. But
this guy's always
better party.
Down.
No way.
We're gonna have Hunter slap you again, bro.
Yeah, he could try. My friend Owen's party, but no, but I will be at Nick Freeberg's house because I can't drive past 9. But anyways. We had some other conversation to get to.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need to go over from your trip, Will? I mean, we don't want to cut short your life update here.
To go quickly, we went to the Met, saw some cool sets of armor. We went to Trump Tower.
Hey,
Trump Tower,
pretty awesome. Trump Tower, baby, let's go.
It's a beautiful tower.
We went to Rockefeller Center. We went to the Nintendo store. Ooh. I got a really big Zelda art book from there, so.
Oh, nice.
I'll definitely show Isaac and Anna when I get back because they're both big Zelda nerds.
True.
Makes sense.
So I'll have to show you guys. It's really cool, actually. I really like it. Other than that, there wasn't too much else to report, I don't think. Oh, we went to Times Square at night and we got some cool photos. That was really nice.
That sounds nice.
We didn't get back until like 2 a.m., but it was real fun.
Worth it.
And, the general consensus after the trip was New York City, nice place to visit, really nice place to visit, worth the visit, but would never live there.
Yeah.
That was the general feel of the group.
Yeah, no way. No,
anyway, that's all I have to report there, but yeah.
Sounds fun. Anyways, this might be a tad outdated, but I think the fans would like to know our general consensus on it. But it's a little bit of an old question, but what do you think, both of you, about 100 men? I'm just gonna set the ground rules here. 100 men.
Yes.
5'9", all of them 5'9", like 180 pounds, versus not the most genetically perfect in the world. I mean, in my opinion, you could get one, but just your average gorilla. I'll look up the size of an average gorilla, but 100 men gorilla.
Like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What do you boys think? Who's winning?
Well,
100 men win.
What kind of place are we in? Are we in the gorilla's natural habitat, or like a white padded room, or what?
We are in a just open field. We are just in a open field, no sticks or stones on the ground. Ground's a little bit bumpy, but not like, because I think if you put it in like a concrete room,
no weapons or armor.
No, I'm just gonna say, just to set the ground rules, everybody's naked, because I think. I think people could use clothes as weapons. So
yeah, like strangling.
Yeah, so I would say that everybody's
gorilla
naked.
strangles a few guys with his T-shirt.
Yeah, so I would say everybody's naked.
You would want that.
Last man, yeah, okay, buddy. Last one standing. Last one standing wins. What do you boys think?
I'm gonna
100 men win. No diff.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the gorilla.
Okay. All right. Well, let me quickly pull up the average.
I mean, Danny, what are you thinking?
Well, let me pull up the average gorilla size silverback, and I can tell you what I'm thinking.
I mean, have you seen those things?
Okay. I have a counterpoint to any pro-gorilla arguments.
They got freaking 12-pack abs, and they can snap whole tree branches in half.
Well, listen, the average.
Okay, but counterpoint.
Good.
Counterpoint. Wait, one sec. Wait, I have to do some.
All right, but while you're doing that, here's
to get my counterpoint up.
Here's the problem for me. Theoretically, if you could get all 100 men to pile on the gorilla at once and like pin it down, then the 100 men would win, of course. The problem is that you can't do that because the gorilla is going to be going, crazy, and the men are not going. Like, the gorilla is just not big enough for all 100 men to get on at the same time. The gorilla is too unpredictable. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have maybe like 5 men at a time trying to fight it. And the gorilla, if it thinks it's going to be attacked, is going to get real aggressive. It's way stronger than any of those men on their own. So it's just going to like throw them or something. I just don't see 100 men winning because 100 men can't fight a gorilla at the same time. It's going to be like, realistically, it's going to be like 5 men against a gorilla, and there's no way that's happening.
Listen, here's what I think. You take the average silverback gorilla. It's 5'5" to 5'9". It's not that tall. It's from 300 to 585 pounds, but between that, it's probably sitting around like 400 pounds. I think men win. Not necessarily no diff. There'll definitely be tons of casualties, but also for the first point, if you don't want to take, if you can't just say, okay, John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Eddie Hall, put all these elite fighters and strong men against the gorilla. You can't handpick the men. You can't handpick the gorilla. So you got to get an average one. I think that if everybody rushes in at the same time, everyone's seeing red, everyone's going crazy. First 20 guys probably cooked. Past that though, men are strong, dude. You start getting punched, it's gonna hurt. You start getting punched in the face. All it takes is 2 guys to like their whole job. I mean, let alone coordinating. If you're like, okay, Billy, Tommy, your job is to poke this thing's eyes out. Let alone, I have a secret strategy for later. But we'll get to that.
Billy, Tommy, poke this thing's eyes out. Jeff, just be Jeff.
Yeah. You go left, I go right. No, listen. Not even implementing my secret strategy. I think just pure blunt force. Because listen, gorillas, that's a big thing. It's going to get tired. 100 guys. It's going to get tired real fast. And listen, you have 4 guys from Africa with spears. They've killed gorillas before. 100 men versus 4 guys with spears. I don't know. Process of elimination. I think that gorilla might be cooked.
It might be, but I don't know. I feel like having so many men would actually make things more chaotic and disorganized. Like you said, average men. These are not fighters who know how to communicate.
No, but just
there's going to be a lot of noise. How would you find a way to yell, Tommy, poke this thing's eyes out?
Well, I mean, it just depends on if you have that coordinated strategy before. But, I mean, even just going at it, I think just in general, I think men have fight or flight. And I think if we're all seeing red and we understand it's either us or it, I think we can get the job done and take this thing out.
It could be. I'll say this. I could see a scenario where that would happen. Like I can see that 100 men could theoretically beat a gorilla. But I still don't think that that's actually what would happen. I don't think that's what's likely to happen.
Well, listen, give me the genetically most perfect gorilla you've ever seen in your life, and give me 10 minutes to talk to these boys. Explain my plan. Listen, what do bodies on average have in them? Like what comprises the human body?
Skin and bones.
Bones. There you go. Listen, break the men up into 3 groups. The first 30 guys, let's say they're all numbered. 1 through 30 go in. Then 31 through 59, they stay back.
It's like a gorilla draft.
Yeah. Get the first 30 guys to go in. Oh, what's up, Will?
Okay. I have 2 arguments for the men. Okay. First off, indomitable human spirit, guys.
Yeah,
we are created in the image of God. Gorilla is not. We just win based off of natural human superiority. Second point, Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 17. Those who will understand.
No way this guy is quoting a television show.
An anime.
An anime show as his evidence
watch
for a real life scenario.
It's literally not even joking. is literally 100, or I think, I don't know the exact number, but like a lot of men versus one really big gorilla, and the men win, bro.
Spoilers.
So watch it, bro.
Well, listen. Going back to my point. Listen.
All right, here's an idea. What if the gorilla evolves into a man in real time? Because that's what we're told happens.
Well,
right?
listen. That's just 100 men versus one really big guy, and I think that's even easier for the guys to win. No, listen. Listen. You said in the first 30 guys, cannon fodder. They get cooked. Second 30 guys, what they're gonna do is they're gonna keep the gorilla distracted, keep it guessing, stay at a distance, take some jabs, take some shots. Just keep it distracted. While the last 40 guys, 40's a lot. That's a big number. The last 40 guys go to the old bodies, and they make bone weapons. You get a femur, you sharpen that thing. You get 5 guys run at this gorilla. One guy in the back, he jumps through with that femur. You stab that thing, it's over. Let alone you get like some shoulder, you get some wrist bones, make some little knives, dude. That's where the weapons come from. And if we have bone weapons, dude, ask ChatGPT, we win.
Bone.
I think your
source is ChatGPT.
It takes a long time to like get the bones out of a human body and sharpen them into weapons.
I think that gorilla's gonna be ripping off some arms. I think it's gonna be pretty easy to access those bones, but
could be, I guess.
You get 40 guys armed to the T with bone weapons. That thing's cooked. That thing's filleted.
Cooked.
Absolutely filleted.
Okay, I have unless you guys want to keep discussing this.
No, I think we came to a pretty good consensus here. But go ahead, I will.
Are you guys done?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're good. No, we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Follow-up question. 100 gorillas versus one Stoic the Vast.
One
Who
Stoic
wins?
the Vast. Easy, dude. That
Stoic.
man tanked dragons. He punched a flaming one in the face. He's good, dog.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. Easy Stoic win.
Yeah. Okay, what about Isaac Zilbauer versus one gorilla? What are we thinking?
Ooh.
We got a 1v1, but Isaac has a Glock.
A Glock. I think Isaac has enough riz
how many bullets?
seduce the gorilla
how many bullets do
into
I
a
have?
false sense of security.
Well, knowing you probably have like an illegal magazine, so let's give you 50.
All right, 50 bullets, and can I shoot from far away, like far enough where it can't get me?
From here to that wall, which is probably like 30 feet.
I feel like we would both end up dead because I'd start shooting at it, and then it would charge me and kill me, but it would not before I drop some lead into it.
You could do an Elden Ring dodge roll though. It can run past you.
You gotta learn its attack pattern.
Yeah, run past
Learn its attack pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah, it makes sense. But no, I think we got that one well covered. Anyways, anybody see how expensive the Nintendo Switch 2 is?
The Nintendo Switch 2 isn't that expensive. $500 is unreasonable for a console.
The games.
The games are what people are complaining about.
How much are the games going to be?
$90.
90?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think that's. Well, I don't know. That might be for physical only. I think it's 80 for digital.
Okay, well.
Oh, 80 for a piece of media that you don't actually even own and could be taken away from you when it's deemed to be too offensive. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's
80
still
or
ridiculous.
90 is just ridiculous. Which, sure, Nintendo, take my money, but it's moving in a bad situation for the consumer because PlayStation, Xbox, they're going to see this. I mean, I love me some PlayStation, but a company's a company. They're going to see that and they're going to go, wow, people are still paying for this? Let's charge them more money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not going to buy a Switch 2, at least right now. Yeah, it's not I'm not in a place where I need one right now. Maybe when the next Smash game comes out, I'll buy one.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm sure Steve will buy one when the Smash comes out. Then you can just use his.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not going to live together forever, so I might want my own at one point. But
yeah, of course.
Definitely not something I'm going to get this year because I don't want to spend my money like that right now. I want to use it and save it for other things, more important things. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. What'd you do for 4th of July? William.
Oh, what did I do for the 4th of July?
You said that you burned down any of the forest or no?
No, we didn't. We just made some burgers.
Oh,
fireworks.
Did you shoot off any
Nice.
fireworks or anything?
What's that?
Did you shoot off any fireworks or no?
No, we just watched like the town fireworks that they put on.
How many people are on there shoot off fireworks? Because I know where I live, it was
A
like,
lot.
It was like every other house
dude.
they were shooting off the ones that you got to go to Pennsylvania to get.
Dude, last night when I was on the phone with Nick Freerig, I was trying to listen to him, but people were setting off fireworks.
Yeah, you thought like Iran was bombing you or something.
Yeah, right.
They could never. No, the 5th of July, debatably more fireworks get shot off because everybody's extras. That they didn't.
Yeah, everybody's trying to use them up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I also learned that bottle rockets are like, I guess, highly illegal, which I had no clue that they were. Even though my friend had like 500 of them.
Those are like the little ones that go up in the air and just make a big bang.
The ones that you either the ones that you could like hold in your hand like very lightly and then they shoot off from you, or you could throw them.
We had those this year, and when my one friend forgot to let go, so it just went off while she was holding it.
But at the same time, I'm sure was she fine?
She was fine. She just
there
couldn't hear out of her left ear for a next hour.
That's fine. I mean, you get some firecrackers in Minecraft. In Minecraft, you get some firecrackers. You have a shoe on. You drop that. You light that thing. Drop it on the ground. Hold your foot over it. You got a little flashbang for you. But that's only in Minecraft, though. Can't not in real life.
Yeah, Minecraft isn't real life, unfortunately.
But yeah. Will, how do you feel about that war with Iran that we're in?
Yeah, are we getting drafted or no, guys?
Yeah, I think we might be getting drafted.
I don't know. I just don't know. I think the way our president handled it was probably the best thing to do in that situation, like only bombing the nuclear facilities to make sure they couldn't use them.
I think we're good because I don't know about you, but I mean, I haven't heard of any like escalation happening. Like there's been nothing. Like Iran is walking away like a dog with its tail between its legs.
I think it was the best choice and decision to, stop violence and preserve more lives and like prevent anything from escalating. I think
honestly,
everything worked out pretty well.
I wouldn't have been against. The only thing that would stop me from like being for killing the supreme leader too would be that it would probably create a lot of chaos in Iran, which is not good, and we don't know who the next leader would be. But like, I think Trump could have been justified in getting rid of him too, just as a dominance display.
There's a lot of risk with that, and also unnecessary killing isn't really something I'm a fan of.
I'm not generally a fan, but this is a guy who's said that he wants to kill us for so long, and I mean, we should just we kind of did stomp it out, but I feel like we could have justifiably stomped it out more. I'm not saying it would be the best course of action, but I'm saying I could see where we would do that, just because. Like we want it as a dominance display. And what country is coming to Iran's aid right now? Like none of them actually like Iran.
No, none.
Every country knows that it's like that weird cousin at the family gathering that's just a total like unpredictable fireball that might end up hurting you.
Yeah, for sure. Will, did you hear about Iran? They tried Iran, however you want to pronounce it. You hear they tried shooting our U.S. embassy in, I believe, in Qatar, and they shot 14 missiles. We shot down 13 of them, and the last one was so poorly aimed by them that we order farmed so hard to be like, nah, we're not even going to shoot it down, even though we could have, because it was so poorly aimed.
Well, you know why we shot most? They told us that they were going to fire them.
Yeah. I mean, even if they didn't.
They told us beforehand, so they didn't get in trouble. Like it was just like, hey, look at us, we're firing bombs back at you.
Even if
we told you already, so you don't kill us all.
Yeah, I mean, even if they didn't, I don't think there'd be much of a problem.
No, it would have been fine.
Even though, they completely missed one of them. What an aura farm, just to go ahead and shoot, just not even shoot one down because it wasn't even going to hurt anything. Oh, did we lose Will?
Oh, shoot, we might have. No, he's on. Will, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, whatever. You didn't react to my last thing I said, but that's...
yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't. Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Don't cry, Danny. It's okay. But anyway, Danny, anything else we need to get to on the podcast today?
Isaac, would you rather be a jar of mayonnaise or a woman?
Well, I mean, what's the joke here, man?
I'm just straight up.
What?
Would you rather be
What was the other thing?
Would you rather be a jar of mayonnaise or a woman?
Probably a woman.
All right, that's gonna do it for us today on the W Ritz Podcast. You heard it here first.
Isaac wants to be a woman. That's not
woman.
what I said.
I think we got him, boys. Will, is there anything?
What
you
would you have
say?
said if I said jar of mayonnaise?
I probably would have said the same thing.
All right.
Will, is there anything you want to say before we go?
All right. I think we're gonna take that as a.
I'm not really a math guy.
Go see the new F1 movie. It's pretty good.
I did not.
No, I'm just saying. I'm telling the audience to go see it. It's very
Isn't
good.
that the one? Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, it's
Is
shot
it
beautifully. It's great. Yeah, it's great. The
shoot.
graphics are. I mean, obviously it's not graphic, but it's very vivid.
The cinematography is good.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Very vivid. Very vibrant.
Good.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think that'll do it for the podcast today, huh?
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
I think
well,
so.
I'm glad to be on the phone with you guys.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not one of the hosts, but you might see some more episodes coming in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
let me tease something a little bit.
Will and I are scheming.
I mean, nothing is set in stone, but we are planning before I leave again for college to do maybe one or two more episodes, and nothing is set in stone yet, but I am in the talks with a past host of a podcast about visiting Buffalo pretty soon, and maybe even having him on the podcast in person.
Ooh.
So look forward to that.
Stay tuned, guys.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah, stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you want to be notified on our newest uploads.
Don't forget to comment down below.
And we were looking at our analytics, and we found out that 99.9% of our viewers are not subscribed.
And the 0.1% is all
let's get
male.
that number to 100. If you're subscribed, unsubscribe right now.
Yeah, we're
so we can
ADHD.
screenshot it, and then resubscribe because we need subscribers.
That's so true. Well, thanks, boys, for this episode. We kind of interviewed Real Will, but I want to thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for kind of taking over his host duties.
Thank you for setting this up, Danny, because I know a lot of this was due to you.
Yes,
so.
this was pretty much Danny's idea.
Yeah, well,
and thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back, whenever we come back. We're a little sporadic, so. But until next time, God bless all of you, and have a lovely July.
Amen.
So long.
Bye, guys.